Ahoy, pirates! The swordsman Roronoa Zoro is one of the strongest characters in the entire series, but what if by some chance he managed to acquire a devil fruit? And what if Zoro had the same ability as Blackbeard to steal devil fruits from other characters? How would his journey as a pirate unfold? Would he become even stronger than he is now? Come closer, because in this video, I'll show you exactly what it would be like if Zoro had the power of other devil fruits. To kick things off, let's imagine what it would be like if Zoro had the power of magma in the palm of his hands. If he ate the Magu Magu no Mi, Akainu's devil fruit, Zoro wouldn't just be a lethal swordsman, but also a true force of nature. With the power of magma, he could coat his swords in extreme heat, capable of melting even the toughest steel. His Santoryu techniques could get an insane upgrade, with attacks so devastating they'd make the ground quake. For example, the Onigiri would become Magma Giri, an attack that wouldn't just cut through enemies, but would incinerate them in the process. And just imagine the visuals. Zoro with magma flames rising from his swords while activating his conqueror's haki. Who would dare stand in his way? Of course, there would be a steep price. Like all devil fruit users, he wouldn't be able to swim anymore. And let's be real, considering his track record of getting lost everywhere, that'd be a huge problem. But with this power in his hands, would he even need to worry about that? I highly doubt it. So what that seems for, and that duty seems to have fallen on me. Can you imagine Zoro fighting not with 3, but with 9 swords? That's right. If he had the powers of the Hana Hana no Mi, he wouldn't just be the pirate hunter, he'd become the 9-armed demon. In East Blue, his reputation as the swordsman of 3 swords already made pirates tremble. Now imagine him wielding 9 swords. Not only would he have devastated everything there, but he would also be known as the legend haunting the seas. At the start of his journey, things would have been almost too easy. Zoro would dominate every battle with ease, until he reached the Bharati. At that point, he'd face Mihawk. Even with 9 swords, Zoro would be put in his place, as the world's greatest swordsman destroys 2 of his ordinary blades, showing Zoro that he still has a long way to go. Upon arriving at Lowtown, Zoro decides to replace the swords he lost. He adds the Yudashiri and the Sandai Kitetsu to his arsenal, strengthening his collection. Later, in Thriller Bark, the power of 9 swords transforms Zoro into an unstoppable force. He defeats Ryuma with ease, an accomplishment that would astonish any swordsman. As a reward, he obtains the legendary Shusui, solidifying his style with 5 ordinary swords and 4 legendary ones. Moving forward to the time skip, Zoro trains with Mihawk, and this is where things get insane. Mihawk not only teaches him to master haki, but also helps him explore the potential of the Hana Hana no Mi. Zoro discovers how to create sword-wielding clones, further amplifying his power. And while he could create flower legs, it's obvious he'd rather focus on swords. After his training, Zoro returns stronger than ever. In Punk Hazard, he slices through everything as if it were child's play. And during the Dressrosa arc, the giant Pika is defeated with absurd ease. If Zoro could cut Pika in his normal form, imagine him now with a giant clone armed with swords. Pika wouldn't stand a chance. Arriving in Wano, Zoro acquires the legendary Enma, further enhancing his arsenal. When Hiyori requests the return of Shusui, Zoro makes a deal. He'll use the legendary sword for just this battle, then return it. Now equipped with 5 legendary swords, Wado Ichimonji, Sandai Kitetsu, Enma, Shusui, and Yudashiri, along with 4 ordinary blades, Zoro has reached the peak of his power. In the fight against Kaido, Zoro gives it his all. Using the combined power of the Hana Hana no Mi and Ashura, he unleashes a devastating attack with 9 swords, all coated in Kakarot's haki. Kaido is struck by an unimaginable force. While it isn't enough to defeat him outright, the impact of the blow is so massive that it paves the way for Luffy's victory. Even without killing Kaido, Zoro's legacy as the 9-sword demon would be etched into history. With the powers of the Hana Hana no Mi, he would have become one of the deadliest swordsmen to ever exist. Season 4. 9 Sword Star. Awesome. Now, imagine Zoro as the Paw Demon, dominating the battlefield with devastating attacks and impenetrable defense. With the powers of the Niku no Mi, Zoro would be a completely revamped swordsman, capable of repelling anything he touches and turning any confrontation into a spectacle of pure destruction. Right from East Blue, Zoro would already showcase the incredible potential of this ability. Against enemies like Morgan, Buggy, and Kuro, he wouldn't just block all attacks, but would return them with amplified force. Instead of engaging in close combat, he'd create an invisible barrier of pure repulsion, sending his enemies flying with a single touch of his paws. When facing Don Creed, his arsenal of weapons wouldn't stand a chance. Zoro could repel explosions, arrows, and even Creed's spear as if they were mere toys. In Alabasta, Zoro's fight against Mr. One would be completely one-sided. If before he had to push himself to cut steel, now he could easily repel Daz Bones' slicing attacks while amplifying the force of his own strikes. The impact of the paw powers would make him an unstoppable swordsman, forcing Daz Bones onto the defensive until he was completely overwhelmed. In the Skypiea arc, Zoro's confrontation with Enel would be legendary. Enel might unleash his powerful lightning strikes, but Zoro, with the paw fruit, would create a repulsion barrier to deflect every electric discharge. Even better, he'd return the attacks with amplified force, leaving Enel in panic as his own electricity was used against him. In this scenario, the paw powers would serve as the ultimate counterattack, turning the battle into a pure strategy masterpiece. Moving on to Thriller Bark, imagine Zoro facing Oars with the Niku no Mi. Oars, with his monstrous strength, would be constantly pushed back by Zoro's amplified strikes. Additionally, Zoro could use the paw powers to create an unbreakable defense, repelling the giant's massive attacks without taking a scratch. And of course, in the most iconic moment when Zoro absorbs all of Luffy's pain, the scene would be even more impactful with the paw fruit's powers. He could repel some of the pain back, making the moment even more intense. Then we arrive at Wano, where Zoro becomes a true force of nature. With Enma in hand, he combines the destructive power of the sword with the paw fruit's ability. During the battle against Kaido, Zoro repels the Yonko's brutal attacks as if they were mere gusts of wind. He creates massive counterattacks, using Kaido's own strength against him. Imagine Zoro deflecting Kaido's devastating breath attack and redirecting it back, causing an even bigger explosion. But the most epic moment would come when Zoro uses Ashura, alongside the paw fruit's abilities. With his 9 swords coated in haki and the power of repulsion in every strike, he delivers a devastating attack that cuts Kaido from top to bottom, leaving the Yonko speechless. With the Ito no Mi, Zoro would become the true pirate hunter of strings. Imagine him combining his mastery of swords with the ability to create and manipulate thin, incredibly strong strings. From the moment he acquired this devil fruit, Zoro would begin exploring the tactical and destructive potential of these strings, turning every battle into a true spectacle of strategy. In East Blue, he would use the strings to set precise traps and easily deflect enemy attacks. Against Daz Bones and Alabasta, the sharp strings would be the key to overcoming the adversary's impenetrable steel, creating decisive openings in his defense. In Skypiea, Zoro would manipulate the strings to create barriers that redirect Enel's electricity, frustrating the Thunder God with his newfound versatility. In the New World, this fruit would take Zoro to another level. Against Pika and Dressrosa, he would use the strings to surround and slice through the stone giant from all angles. Combined with Enma, the strings would become a lethal weapon against Kaido and Wano. Imagine Zoro controlling the battlefield with deadly webs, restricting movements and attacking with absolute precision. With the Ito no Mi, Zoro would be an unstoppable force, elevating his lethality to unprecedented levels. Great white Oda hold you. That was today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and comment on the video. Then subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you won't miss the next videos. Take care, and see you next time.